One of the biggest talking points from the Springboks' thrilling 42-28 victory over Scotland has nothing to do with a spectacular try, a crushing tackle, or a brilliant tactical kick. Instead, it centers on a controversial moment that has reignited debate about rugby's laws and the fine margins that can change the outcome of a test match. Respected former international referee Nigel Owens, widely regarded as one of the greatest officials the sport has ever seen, has delivered a verdict that is already dividing rugby fans around the world. According to Owens, one of South Africa's crucial tries should never have stood because of what he believes was an illegal action involving two Springboks forwards during the build-up. The incident occurred early in the match when South Africa had just taken a 7-0 lead through Ambrose Papier's opening try, converted by Handré Pollard. Scotland responded with a restart, but the kick was cleanly gathered by Cobus Wiese, who was lifted high into the air by Born Venter. At first glance, the play appeared to be a routine line-out style lifting technique used to secure possession from a kickoff, something rugby fans see regularly at the highest level. However, what happened next became the source of intense discussion. Rather than bringing Wiese immediately back to the ground after securing the ball, Venter continued carrying him forward while he remained elevated above shoulder height. This seemingly small detail proved to be the heart of Owens' argument. Under World Rugby laws, players are prohibited from challenging or making contact with an opponent who is still in the air, and that protection also extends to the supporting players holding them. Recognizing this, the Scottish defenders hesitated. They knew that attempting a tackle in that moment could easily result in a penalty against them for dangerous play. That hesitation allowed Wiese to land safely before breaking through the defensive line and producing an offload to Paul de Vries, who carried the attack deep into Scottish territory. Several phases later, Evan Roos powered over the try line, extending South Africa's advantage to 14-0. Looking back after the final whistle, many observers considered that score one of the defining moments of the contest, particularly as the Springboks eventually secured a convincing 42-28 victory. Speaking on World Rugby's Whistle Watch, Nigel Owens carefully explained why he believed the officials should have intervened. Rather than describing the incident as obstruction, he made it clear that a different law was involved. According to Owens, obstruction usually refers to a player preventing defenders from reaching a teammate carrying the ball. In this case, he argued, the issue was not traditional obstruction but an action that effectively removed Scotland's ability to defend legally. Because Wiese remained airborne while being carried forward, the Scottish players were placed in an impossible situation. They could not legally challenge the ball carrier, yet allowing him to advance freely gave South Africa a significant tactical advantage. Owens pointed out that one Scottish defender visibly pulled away from making contact, seemingly aware that any attempt to tackle could result in a penalty. For the former referee, that reaction itself demonstrated why the play should have been ruled illegal. He explained that when defenders are prevented from contesting possession because the laws designed to protect airborne players are effectively being used to create an attacking advantage, officials should recognize that the situation has crossed the line. Owens stressed that lifting a teammate briefly to catch the restart is perfectly legal and an accepted part of modern rugby. The problem, in his opinion, arose because the player remained elevated while being moved forward instead of being returned immediately to the ground. Once that happened, Scotland's defenders lost the opportunity to challenge fairly, and the correct decision, according to Owens, would have been to award Scotland a penalty rather than allowing play to continue. Naturally, the comments have sparked passionate debate among supporters from both nations. Some fans agree completely with Owens, arguing that the laws exist to ensure fairness as well as player safety and that any tactic exploiting protected situations should be penalized. Others believe the Springboks simply executed a clever and innovative play within the current interpretation of the laws, insisting there was no deliberate attempt to break the rules. Rugby has always evolved through tactical innovation, and teams constantly search for new ways to gain an advantage until governing bodies clarify or adjust the laws. The Springboks, under their coaching staff, have built a reputation for pushing tactical boundaries while remaining highly effective, and this latest controversy only reinforces that image. Despite the debate, nothing changes the official result. Evan Roos' try remains on the scoreboard, South Africa's 42-28 victory stands, and the Springboks continue to build momentum with another impressive international performance. However, discussions like this often influence future refereeing interpretations, and it would not be surprising if similar situations receive closer scrutiny in upcoming Test matches. Whether supporters believe Nigel Owens was absolutely correct or feel the officials made the right call in real time, one thing is certain: rugby's smallest moments can have enormous consequences, and the ongoing conversation highlights just how complex and fascinating the sport's laws have become. As the Springboks look ahead to their next challenge, this controversial incident will remain one of the most talked about moments of the match, reminding players, coaches, officials, and fans alike that in elite rugby, every decision, every interpretation, and every split-second action can shape the story of an unforgettable Test match.
Few moments in international rugby generate as much discussion as a controversial refereeing decision, and the latest debate surrounding the Springboks has once again captured the attention of fans across the rugby world. While South Africa celebrated a commanding 42-28 victory over Scotland with another impressive display of power, precision, and attacking flair, the conversation after the final whistle quickly shifted away from the scoreboard and toward a single passage of play that has divided opinion among supporters, analysts, and former officials alike. At the center of the storm is legendary former Test referee Nigel Owens, whose respected opinion has reignited debate over how World Rugby's laws should be interpreted in modern international matches. Speaking after reviewing the incident, Owens argued that one of South Africa's most important tries should never have counted because, in his view, the Springboks gained an unfair advantage through an illegal action involving two forwards. His comments have sparked countless discussions online, with many praising his detailed explanation while others insist the defending world champions simply outsmarted their opponents within the existing laws. Regardless of which side fans support, there is little doubt that this incident has become one of the defining talking points from an entertaining Test match. The controversial sequence unfolded just minutes after the Springboks had made the perfect start. Scrum half Ambrose Papier crossed the try line after a slick attacking move, and Handré Pollard added the conversion to give South Africa an early 7-0 advantage. Scotland desperately needed a strong response from the restart to halt the hosts' momentum, but instead, the kickoff produced the moment everyone is still talking about. As the ball descended from the sky, towering Loch Cobus Wies was lifted high by prop-born Venter, allowing him to claim possession comfortably above the chasing Scottish players. Up until that point, everything appeared completely routine. Teams around the world regularly lift players during restart receptions to secure possession, and the tactic has become a normal part of elite rugby. However, according to Nigel Owens, what happened next was anything but ordinary. Instead of immediately lowering Wies back to the ground after catching the ball, Venter continued moving forward while supporting his teammate in the air. Those few extra steps may have looked insignificant in real time, but they created a situation that left Scotland's defenders with almost no legal options. Under World Rugby laws, players are protected while airborne, and opponents are forbidden from making dangerous contact with them or interfering with those supporting them. Faced with that legal reality, the Scottish defenders hesitated. They recognised the enormous risk of conceding a penalty if they attempted to tackle Wies before he returned safely to the ground. That hesitation proved costly. Once Wies landed, he accelerated through the defensive line before producing a perfectly timed offload to the impressive Paul de Villiers, who charged deep into Scottish territory. South Africa quickly recycled possession, maintaining relentless pressure through several phases before powerful number 8 Evan Roos eventually crashed over for another try. Suddenly, the Springboks held a commanding 14-0 lead, and the atmosphere inside the stadium shifted dramatically. Looking back after the match, many observers believe that score played a major role in establishing South Africa's control over the contest, making the earlier incident even more significant. During the latest episode of World Rugby's Whistle Watch, Nigel Owens broke down the play with the calm precision that made him one of rugby's most respected officials. Rather than calling the incident obstruction, Owens explained that the situation involved a different principle altogether. Obstruction, he pointed out, usually occurs when an attacking player prevents defenders from reaching the ball carrier by standing in their path. That was not what happened here. Instead, Owens argued that the problem was created because the attacking team unintentionally, or perhaps cleverly, used the laws protecting airborne players to prevent Scotland from defending at all. As long as Wies remained elevated while moving forward, Scottish defenders could not legally challenge him without risking punishment. According to Owens, that transformed what should have been a normal contest for possession into an unfair attacking advantage. One particular Scottish defender even appeared to pull away from making contact, almost instinctively recognizing that any challenge could result in a penalty against his side. For Owens, that visible hesitation served as the clearest evidence that the situation had crossed into illegal territory. He explained that the laws are designed to protect players from dangerous aerial collisions, not to allow an attacking team to carry an airborne ball carrier into open space while defenders stand powerless. In his opinion, the correct outcome should have been an immediate penalty to Scotland, with the entire attacking sequence ending before Paul de Villiers received the offload or Evan Roos reached the try line. Importantly, Owens also clarified that there was nothing wrong with lifting Wies to catch the kickoff in the first place. That action remains completely legal and is widely accepted throughout professional rugby. The issue only emerged because the supporting player continued advancing instead of bringing Wies directly back to the ground. It is a subtle distinction, but one that highlights just how complicated modern rugby law interpretations have become. As expected, reactions across the rugby community have been mixed. Many supporters have applauded Nigel Owens for offering a thoughtful explanation that helps fans better understand the laws. Others argue that rugby constantly evolves through innovation and tactical creativity, suggesting the Springboks merely exploited a legal grey area that officials did not judge to be an offence. South African fans, in particular, have pointed out that the match officials, assistant referees, and television match official all had opportunities to intervene but allowed play to continue, suggesting there was no obvious infringement under the current interpretation.